Atiku Abubakar, for having him resign. The first question I'd like to ask you, Mr. George, this group, first off, do they have the moral standing or the right to call for the resignation of Atiku Abubakar, or rather calling for him to stop his 2027 ambition as soon as possible by coming forward?
What I mean by that is that he has lost elections serially. And for you to have lost elections serially, it shows that the Nigerian electorate do not want you. I think there's need to have a change. Maybe some other person that has the wherewithal, that has the capacity, that is, that appeals to the people's conscience, or that appeals to the people's, and they like him, maybe able to come and change the narrative. We also saw what happened during the last election, with the way that P2B made, despite, coming from a smaller party, that does not have its tentacles spread across the nation. PDP is the main opposition party that has offices in almost all the wards and the entire federation. So if they have someone that, appears like P2B, that has what it takes, that is accepted across board, be it religious, be it cultural-wise.
That Atiku has lost his political relevance?
Obviously, from the look of things, in the last 2 or 3 election cycles, he has lost woefully. So don't you think that even if he comes for 2027, the likelihood of him losing will be so high?
But do you think it's about PDP or about the party itself?
It is not.
Because there has been a clamor for a electorate seemed to be tired of the operations of the PDP and the APC. So I'm asking, is it really about Atiku, or is it about the party itself?
Well,
do you think that the PDP can even produce a candidate that can stand?
You can't remove the human factor there. If you followed what happened the last election, you note that Atiku's emergence affected a whole lot of things. Some big wigs of the party got angry and pulled their weight away from the party, which made the party to lose the election in some areas where they have stronghold. So the person Atiku is the major problem. If he can decide to take himself away from the system, and like the group urges him, to support someone, one of his mentees to come, someone that has the clout that can unify members of the party. You see PDP mounting a formidable challenge. It's about him as a person. He's just like someone being greedy. You have been here for too long, trying to be the president of Nigeria, running election and losing serially. What he should do is to honorably, go away from that position and probably sponsor someone who has what it takes to be accepted.
But politics, again, it's a game of interest, and we can clearly see that the politicians don't seem to be willing to take a bow in their political ambition. And so I can't tell whether or not Atiku would resign or drop his political ambition. But the concern here is how that the group has promised that there will be no peace. What do you think that this really means for the PDP?
Listen, it's just like what I've said to you here. When the people say there will be no peace, nobody can stop Atiku from running. They are only urging him, pleading with him to shed that his ambition for a much younger person that has the appeal, the aura to unite the party and also, make Nigerians be in love with him to vote for him. If Atiku has refused to do that or refuses to do that and continue, that group will pull away their support. And those people there may have supporters across board, from different stratas of the party, maybe at the ward level, local government level, state level, and the national level. They may have what it takes to pull their supporters away, which will affect the chances of the party winning the 2027 election. So they are trying to appeal to him. If he actually wants the party, to make an inroad and probably deliver the goods, he should just step aside and sponsor someone. But if he doesn't want, I'm sure this group you are saying here, maybe they may not have a name, a public figure that is well known, a political bigweight. But don't be surprised that they are being sponsored by someone who is, very much strong. And I believe it is not just that group. There will be others that will come when the time comes. Atiku's men will also come, to canvass support for him and all of that. This may further polarize the party. So what we are saying, for my own opinion on this matter is simple. Atiku has been here, serially losing the election, and by 2027 it should be above 80 years. And someone at 80 should have other things, to worry about, not to come and begin to administer governance for a complex state like Nigeria. So if you ask me, I want to align completely with a call for Atiku to step aside for a much younger and appealing, person to the Nigerian electorate to take charge.
But I believe that the primaries will be held for a candidate to be selected. So how about he runs alongside some other persons?
Of a truth, there will be primaries. But if Atiku actually wants the PDP, everything should not be about self, I and me.
I mean, if they feel that some other persons are more qualified for the position, then he should be able to contest for it.
Of course, there will be contest to that. There will be contest, but you know how Nigerian electoral system is. During the convention, when they want to elect who the flag bearer is, a lot of horse trading, a lot of money will play out. So many things will play out. So if you do not have what it takes, to move those electorate to vote for you, those party delegates, despite how good you are, even though you are the one that will be the Messiah of Nigeria, you may end up losing the election. And someone like Atiku is not a small person when it comes to this. This is a tough that he has been reading for the past 30 years. So he understands what is, he runs for that convention, for that primary. The likelihood of him winning is very high.
So if he doesn't willingly step aside, are there likelihoods that they may force
What that
him?
means is that these people will pull away their support from the party, and the party will not have what it takes to stand the APC at the election, general election. So that's just it. Except maybe along the line, he has what it takes to unify the party. In everything about politics is what we call give and take. You have to sometimes, in negotiating your position, you have to shift ground a bit to accommodate the other person's argument, because these people will come with some of their demands. So it is for him to see how he can unite.
Occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on Atn Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human
on the point of order.
Honorable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their mind.
So no agreement with the EU, but
every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on Atn Politics today.
Thank you for staying with us. Now to the rest of our stories. A former national vice chairman, northwest of the All Progressives Congress, Salihu Lukman, has called on President Bola Tinubu and other party leaders to revisit issues surrounding the disagreement between two former governors of Kano State, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, in a statement issued in Abuja yesterday. He warned that on no account should APC leaders limit the engagement of issues surrounding the political challenges facing APC as a party to only the issue of bribery allegation against Ganduje. Lukman said, and I quote, "Being progressives require honesty, which given current political reality, we must accept that Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso and his NNPP has a stronger support base in Kano State noting that Senator Kwankwaso was in our party up to 2018 and acknowledging that between 1999 and 2019, both Senator Kwankwaso and Dr. Ganduje worked together. We need to revisit issues surrounding their disagreement. If this means another round of negotiation for political alliance or merger with Senator Kwankwaso and NNPP, our leaders should proceed to act accordingly. President Tinubu and the APC must take the full advantage of the current reality to renegotiate the support base of the APC. Renegotiating the support base of the APC should also be about reigniting the progressive credentials of the APC. It is very painfully disturbing that unless this kind of opportunity is utilized to the fullest, based on which new actors such as Dr. Kwankwaso with strong commitment to democracy based on principles are recruited into our party, the downward slide and retrogression towards conservatism and lawless management of the APC will continue. Without doubt, this situation presents an opportunity for President Asiwaju Tinubu to demonstrate his progressive and political dexterity. It is a low-hanging fruit which, if properly managed, could also save the politics of Dr. Ganduje. The hard truth is that somehow the politics of Kano State was mismanaged, and as if we were unable to win an election in Kano State when we were in control of Kano State government, it would be foolhardy to imagine otherwise. A call for the president to address the feud between Kwankwaso and Ganduje. Now, going down memory lane a little, you will agree with me that Ganduje and Kwankwaso had quite a good and commendable relationship there, working as both governor and deputy. And we can't say that Ganduje somewhat owes his emergence in politics to Kwankwaso, right? Because after his second tenure, he emerged governor, which is quite not the case in the Nigerian politics. It's quite difficult to see a deputy succeeding his principal. So, having been asked this, I mean, Tinubu now being asked to do this, do you think that this synergy, as stated, between Kwankwaso and Ganduje is really worth it for the party in Kano State? Because, I mean, political feud cannot be ruled out. There is always political crisis at one point or the other. So do you think that, first off, the feud between Kwankwaso and Ganduje, how much detriment can it cause to the party in the state if not managed or addressed?
Oh yes, I think it's very important that President Tinubu waits in at this point to reconcile Kwankwaso and Ganduje. These are two political bigwigs in that state. Of the politics. From 1999 to today, these two men have been the leaders of politics in that state. What am I saying? Kwankwaso was the governor, while Ganduje was his deputy. After he finished the first tenure, when they lost the election to then NNPP, what they call it, what's his name, the Malon, the teacher. There is this other governor that came after after this guy, after what they call him. Sorry, let me remind you. Let me remind myself.
I'm trying to remember also.
Huh?
I'm trying to remember his name also.
Okay, let's just forget about him. There's someone came after the first governor. After he ruled, then he came back. Kwankwaso came back. After he lost the election first time to the Malam, the guy ruled for 8 years. Then Kwankwaso came back and completed his tenure with Ganduje as the deputy. It's rare in Nigerian politics to see after a man finishes, he hand over to his deputy. We rarely find it in Nigeria, but it happened, which made Ganduje to become a leader in in Kano State. Along the line, a political problem came up between Gandhi and Kwankwaso. These are two political leaders in that state, which led Kwankwaso to go form or merge with the current party in the state today, the current party in the state, that's the NMPP, that produced the incumbent governor today. So what Lukman is asking for is simple. Because Kano State is one of the states that has the population when it comes to voting strength. And Kano State cannot underestimate the importance when it comes to national politics. So what Lukman is asking for is for Tinubu to take advantage of the situation to reconcile these two political bigwigs for the benefit of APC. Because if this doesn't happen, what it means is that gradually the APC will lose one of its stronghold, which is Kano State. APC is no longer at the state level ruling the state. It is the NMPP in charge, which Kwankwaso is the leader of the party. So if he does not reconcile them for Kwankwaso and Ganduje to work together through their political weight, to revive the APC in the Kano State, what it means is that by 2027, the APC may naturally lose that state both for the presidential election and for the governorship election. And if that happens, it means that the APC would have died a natural death in that state.
I mean, but do you think that this is a timely call? Because the feud didn't just start. So do you think that having to call for an address to the feud between Kwankwaso and Ganduje is quite timely?
Yes, it is timely. It is timely. But the essence of that call is for 2027. We are in 2024 now. It is important that at this point they reconcile and begin to work together. They should close ranks. Once the president reconcile them, because what may be causing problem is just normal political disagreement. Disagreement. You take this. No, I will. Like that. It is for the president to wade in and what we call political solution. They come to a round table and open up what the issues are, the grasses are, and the president will look at it and to say, okay, you take this, let's do this way, and they will come together, close rank, and work for the party, because they all have support base, massive support base, that if that feud continue, it will affect the chances of APC in Kano State. So Lukman, probably a member of the APC, who understand what the APC would have, lost and will continue to lose if there's no reconciliation between these two, erstwhile political friends and all of that. So there's need for the president to take advantage. It is also for his own benefit, because obviously President Tinubu, God willing, would like to run for, a second term in office, which is by 2027. So if you lose Kano as a state, then obviously it will affect of becoming the president of the nation. So Lukman is calling for the president to take advantage of that. It is timely, to answer your question, because there is still enough time to reconcile them, for them to close rank and work for the growth of the party in Kano State.
But the Kwankwaso already has a support for NNPP.
This is politics, like I said. It's a give and take thing. There is something that may be promised to him, and he will withdraw his support from NNPP. That is politics. There is no permanent friend or permanent enemy. It's only interest that is permanent. You and I know, given that NNPP is only domiciled strongly in Kano State, at the national level, they don't have that, what it takes to pull, any surprise. We also what happened at the last election. Kwankwaso contested for the presidential election. Did he win? Probably he only won that is Kano State, where, he is very strong. Outside Kano State, no way. So, for me, Kwankwaso, if you in recent times, you will agree that this man is, working towards becoming something at the national level. For him, of course, he can no longer be governor again. So the best thing for him, because everything is about interest. He wants to go at the national level. So there could be some kind of promises here and there that will make him to say, okay, even though I don't want to work for the party at the state, support the party at the national level for them to win the national election. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. But while I thought anything is just too possible, let the president take advantage of that to reconcile for the interest of the APC as a party in Kano State.
Okay, you know, many people believe that Ganduje, owing his political strides or emergence, if I may, to Kwankwaso being his principal at the time, he himself, they don't need the intervention of the president to reunite them. They feel, they are of the opinion that Ganduje should rather, his principal, should be the one to seek for peace with Kwankwaso owing to their history in governance. What do you make of that?
I think there's nothing wrong with that call also, but you know, ego has a way of blinding humans. Maybe Ganduje would have said, okay, Kwankwaso was a two-term governor. I too had become a two-term governor. He was a minister. I'm yet to be a minister, but I'm the party national chairman. This is just what ego can cause. So sometimes it requires the third party to lessen this ego and make them to realize the need to work together. But I still agree that the call for him to go back to his ex-wife boss and reconcile their differences is not out of place completely. Some of these things can be done in the house without even the, it becoming an issue in the media. But, you know, politicians have a lot of ego that sometimes they feel that, well, he's a politician, I'm equally a politician, whatever he can achieve, I too can achieve. So sometimes it requires a third party who broker peace and ensure that the peace becomes lasting. So that's the reason for the call.
So if the rift is not addressed, APC stands little or no chance in the forthcoming elections. From
the look of things, it's obvious. If you followed what happened in the last election, NMPP emerged from so that it come to play. That has the political wherewithal, that has what it takes to pull the people. NMPP had no such, political base. It was Kwankwaso that revived that party in Kano State, that made it to win the governorship election. So these are people that had cult followings. You don't joke with such people politically. So if there's no reconciliation between Kwankwaso and, obviously if you're a good political analyst or follower of politics, you will understand that APC does not stand a chance of winning the state. Because the incumbent now, except he does badly, but if he rules well, and with Ganduje Kwankwaso as the leader of the party in that state, with his court following, then there's every likelihood that they will continue to bury every other party, including the APC. So that's the reason why Lukman is calling, because it will be to the advantage of not just the APC, but for president for 2027 election. If these two political bigwigs of the state can reconcile their differences, come together as one, and work for the party, then it's as good for APC in that state.
All right, then, on to the last story for today's conversation, still on politics. The presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has emphasized the need for Nigeria to return to parliamentary system of government. This is made known at a lecture at Harvard Law School in Boston, Massachusetts, USA on Tuesday. According to Obi, Nigeria needs a parliamentary system of government where the president can interface with citizens at least once a month. He noted that the presidential system is not working well in Nigeria. Hence, the country continues to have bad leaders who stay in office for 4 years without being accountable to the people. Obi said, what happens is, because of the presidential system that has no president in Nigeria today, we have a bad leader and he stays there for 4 years. When we have a parliamentary system, we can move a motion of no confidence within 2 or 3 years. If we are in a parliamentary system, a president will be a member of parliament. Today, if you elect me as president of Nigeria or governor, I can remove myself entirely from being answerable to the people. Just hire a gang of lunatics talking rubbish every day. While if it is a parliamentary system, during the president's question time, he has to answer. He doesn't have to hire anybody to speak for him. A president in Nigeria can decide not to talk to anybody for 1 year and nobody cares because he has hired all these people who do the talking. If you say anything, they call you names. They do this. So we need a parliamentary system where the president will be a member of parliament and will at least, even if it is once a month, answer the people who elected him. Because we didn't elect all these gangsters, we elected somebody and we want the person to talk to us. Now here, Peter Obi has taken a swipe to draw the thin line between the presidential system of government as well as the parliamentary system, particularly highlighting accountability. And you and I will agree that accountability is quite a challenge in the Nigerian system of governance. Knowing that you're not accountable to anybody, you more or less cannot be held responsible for anything. And so Peter Obi stating here that it's a problem. So the president can do whatever he wants. But looking at the parliamentary system of government, knowing that you are responsible to the parliament, you cannot do whatever you like. I'd like you to tell us, because some of these countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Israel, Malaysia, and the rest who operate a parliamentary system of government, or governance rather, they seem to be faring quite well in their politics. I mean, because there is a parliament that the president is responsible to, and so he talks to them from time to time. But in the Nigerian system, the president you really cannot speak with your president. You really cannot ask questions, as highlighted by Peter Obi stating here. So do you think that a parliamentary system of government can actually work in Nigeria?
Oh yes, I think the parliamentary system can work effectively in Nigeria. We've practiced it before. This is not the first time. I think it was sometime in 1979 that they changed to the presidential system. Before this time, it was a parliamentary system. I do not completely agree with the reasons adduced by Peter Obi that the president may decide not to talk to anyone for 1 year because he has hired people to do the talking for him. Therefore, we should change to a parliamentary system. I don't understand the cost of governance. It will cut down the cost of governance because the too many retinue of aides, people working in presidential villa, all these things will be cut down. You understand? The president will be a member of the parliament. He will be elected from amongst, the people. Like he said, questions can be thrown to him. You will see him in the parliament debating on issues. We hear him to know his view on that, which is what Peter Obi is saying. That is also given. But for me, majorly, it will cut down the cost of governance. The presidential system is too bogus. It's too bogus and is affecting a whole lot. If they tell you how much they use in running, the government at the national level, money budgeted for the running of the president, his office and everything attached to him, you'll be shocked. So, but if we scrap that system and go by the parliamentary system, some of those money will be saved. The president will be seen like every other, parliament, except the fact that he's just the first among equals. So, for me, if I have written something about this, that we should go back to, the parliamentarian system of government, which will help to, reduce the cost of governance, because the presidential system appears to be too bogus. That's my own reason. So. Okay,
but I'd really like you to tell us the feasibility of actually operating a parliamentary system in Nigeria. But before we get there, coming back to the statement of Peter Obi about how that the president hires lunatics to speak on his behalf, so we don't get to hear him speak. Do you think that statement is unfounded?
Did you say lunatics?
That's what he said.
No. That statement should be withdrawn for a person like P2B to say the president of a nation like Nigeria hires lunatics. No, I don't completely agree with him. He hires people who works for him. He should call those people out directly, not to say the president. That's like a direct insult to the president, which I would not want to completely align, because if he had won the last election and sworn in as the president of Nigeria, for the fact that we are running the presidential system, even though it will be changed with time, for now, on the interim, it should have still been the presidential system, which means that he would have hired people working for him, image makers and all of that. So would he be happy, someone calling them lunatics? If you call them lunatics, it means that the president himself, does not have what it takes to be the president of Nigeria, that he does not recognize excellence or does not recognize capacity. There are plethora of humans.
But could that be what he's portraying? I mean, seeing that he also mentioned the fact that you can't speak with the president, you can't even hear him speak because he